the social pariah turned messiah. I am the misfit that doesn't know when to quit. I am the man without a plan. And in case you haven't heard, I always, and I mean always, have the last word. What's up, everybody? Long time no see. The rumors of my demise have been greatly exaggerated. Hey, I'm sorry I did not get around to putting up a TLC interview, or as I called it, tuberculosis, listeria, and chlamydia. Yeah, as you guys know, I'm in college. You could see on my YouTube channel, I've been uploading the radio show I do at our university radio station. And it's an actual radio station, college radio station, so it's kind of that semi-professional deal. Before I get into Survivor Series, shameless plug, I do have a really good episode that I have a copy of in my Gmail that I got to download and upload to YouTube. For now, I have a domain name. I'm working on essentially a professional portfolio site when I find one that I can actually upload media to. Because obviously I'm a comm major. I'm looking for a professional career out of this kind of stuff. I mean, the YouTube stuff is fun, but I think the adpocalypse has ruined the YouTube revenue stream a bit for anybody who's not already established. Because obviously, unless I put this out on Twitter or you guys are spreading the word, I'm not showing up on recommendations or Google's preferred partners because they're not making a ton of money on me. Which is fine, because you know what? I'm sick of 6 ads in an 11-minute video. Screw you, YouTube. I said screw you because I'm going to try to swear less. Not that I'm trying to be a family-oriented show, because I don't know why your kid would sit and watch Mr. Potato Head talk about wrestling. But I kind of want to at least be something where if you got friends or family or somebody in the room, you're not hearing me drop as many F-bombs or just things that I could do better than. I will swear on occasion when it fits. I probably will in this video when I get to the main event. But, yeah, I'm going to try to keep things a little nicer. It's just a better reflection on me, too, as a performer. But yeah, I had the radio show, or still have the radio show. It's called It's All Geek to Me. I haven't done a YouTube video since I started the radio show, just because I missed TLC. In why TLC? It was honestly time constraints. I had a major presentation I had to do in one of my comm classes, which took up a lot of time. And by the time I had a chance to do the video, it was already like 10 days in, and I figured there's no point. Quick summary of TLC. Wasn't the best pay-per-view. Honestly, I can't say it was bad, because I went into it with no expectations given who was sick and the matches that were changed, but it was a lot better than it had any right to be. I enjoyed the Enzo match. The Asuka-Emma match was kind of, for cutting Emma 2 days later, they really should have just had her be buried. That should have been a squash match for Asuka. But Asuka got her opportunity to shine here at Survivor Series, so all's well that ends well. TLC was better than it had any right to be. It wasn't great, but given all the crap that happened, it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. So there's my quick review of TLC. But the radio show, I had one of my partners at the radio station on with me. His name is Gerald, really cool guy. Found out I liked wrestling, found out I did the YouTube channel, because shameless plug, I'm going to plug the channel everywhere I go. And so we talked wrestling, and I'm going to put it up on YouTube. I honestly say listen to it when you have a chance. And it's audio only because it's a radio show, actual radio show. So what I usually do is just stick the poster I made for the show itself, as a video so I can upload it. At least until I have a website I can post them to where I don't get hit with copyright claims for the music I play. Because, again, licensed radio station, we have the legal authority to play the music we're playing, but YouTube doesn't care. Honestly, I don't know all the legality, but I'm pretty sure that doesn't translate from the radio to YouTube. So I can understand why. But, really good discussion. It was probably my favorite episode of the show. If you have an opportunity, the name of the radio show, again, is It's All Geek to Me. It's on WSINradio.org, or if you're in the New Haven, Connecticut area where the university is, if you tune in to 1590 AM at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch the show. So, yeah, I've been busy, but busy in a good way. And the semester's winding down. I normally have class on Tuesdays, but I had class Monday. And here's a big thing why I'm not getting them up on Monday. Monday is a 15-hour day for me this semester. And the semester's almost over. I have 2 morning classes. I have I have a meeting at the radio station. And then I have class in the evening, and then I'm a treasurer of one of the clubs on campus, so I have that after my class. So typically from about 8:30 in the morning till usually 10, I get home about close to 11. So that's coming out to about 15-hour day. So I'm exhausted, and the last thing I'm going to do is try to record a video, and I'm just exhausted and don't want a human at the moment. But let's get into Survivor Series, because hot damn, this was a good pay-per-view. I went into this a little disappointed because there was no title matches, but they really embraced the Raw versus SmackDown. Now, I haven't caught a lot of Raw and SmackDown over the last few weeks because of my schedule and class and what I just went over, and I'm not going to rehash. But I know they did a great job with New Day showing up on Raw and starting to fight with the Shield, costing the Shield their title against the Bar. So you had that fantastic tag team match, and of course you had the SmackDown Invasion on Raw, where they all attacked the Raw guys, and then the Raw guys beat the hell out of the SmackDown guys. They just went in really well. Now, not every match of Survivor Series was a match to remember. Honestly, there was 2 that were just kind of okay, and we'll get to those here. But everything was set up wonderfully. It started out like, oh, we're just going to have the 5-on-5 men's match, meh. But then they started building up the New Day versus Shield, which I wasn't sure going into it, but I was happily surprised. The Bar versus the Usos was also a good match. And then you had the different champions fight. So you had Corbin versus Miz. Spoiler warning, the match wasn't bad, it was average. And you had the 2 women champions fight, Alexa Bliss and Charlotte. And that was another one where it wasn't bad, it was just kind of okay. There was a funny spot in the match, because part of what Alexa does that I really think is hysterical. And I'll break down that match, because the 2 characters are kind of like the polar opposites of how to be effective bitch. Charlotte's a little different because her character's kind of like that reluctant face. I can't tell if she's supposed to be a face or not because her personality really didn't change. She's that condescending but confident, and Alexa is kind of that conniving and screaming tantrum throwing. But it's the same basic character, but they take it and make it 2 completely unique performances. So it was nice seeing them go at it. It's just the match could have been, it was okay. So again, I'll get into that. I don't want to jump around too much here, because I want to keep this short so you guys listen to it, and I don't lose my voice. But, yeah, honestly, I really enjoyed the pay-per-view. Now, there was 3 pre-show matches. I missed Matt Hardy and Elias. I can't really talk about it. I didn't catch the pre-show until about 15 minutes in, and I didn't think they would have a match, let alone 3. I knew they were doing the Cruiserweight match, which is what I'm going to get to in a second. However, I didn't think there would be 3 actual matches during a pre-show, because usually they just talk way too damn much. But let's get it going here. Pre-show match number 2, technically, was Kalisto versus Enzo. This match was okay. It wasn't great. The TLC match between the 2 I thought was 10 times better. What I picked out more was Kalisto botched his entrance. I felt bad for him because he went to jump off the trampoline, which they screwed up, and they got the trampoline on camera for a brief second. Now, we all know it's there. If you're at the live show, you're going to see the trampoline, but the illusion for it at home is the dude's jumping and making it over the ropes. But they caught the trampoline, which, not for nothing, I couldn't do that even with the trampoline. It would be fun as hell to try, though. But Kalisto jumped on it and kind of landed on the ropes and got hung up and kind of rolled off the ropes. And they went with it. They didn't address it, so it just kind of looked like he was goofing around. But I caught it, and it was funny. But thankfully he wasn't hurt. At least no injury reports or anything came out, so I'm assuming he wasn't hurt. Enzo came out. Enzo talked. Enzo was wearing this ugly-ass bathrobe. Like, this thing was ugly as sin. But, I kind of found it funny that the non-title match was on the pre-show, but given the context of everything about this pay-per-view was SmackDown versus Raw, in hindsight, it made sense. Now, the match was kind of meh. Why I say it was meh, there was a lot of back and forth. The guys did pretty good with each other for a while, but towards the end, there was a spot where they were both on the outside ring apron, and it was botchy and clunky as hell. Like, you could just tell it didn't flow. They seemed a little lost, and like they were missing cues, or like they didn't know what to do with themselves on the apron. I would have preferred like if they knocked one off the apron and they did some leaps. I know Enzo is accused of having a limited moveset. I honestly have to say he has gotten better. I thought the title match at TLC when he won it back was one of the best Enzo matches and really one of the better matches of the show. I was shocked to get a good match out of Enzo, so I'm happy to see that he's improving. Sunday night wasn't one of his better nights. He eventually hits the, what's he called, the Chidenzo or whatever, the Eat Defeat. I don't know, I forgot what he calls it. It's some weird pun on Enzo. And he pins Kalisto and retains the title, which is good because Enzo has personality, and whether you like him as a wrestler or not, he is drawing people into 205 Live, which he's the first guy to do so. Now, my favorite guy on 205 Live was Jack Gallagher because his character was such a goofball. The male Mary Poppins. Not so much now when he's a heel, because now he's just kind of generic heel, but him and Brian, is it Brian Kendrick? Yeah. Being together have been kind of a cool concept after their feud, and finally he realizes, yeah, you're right, I'm acting like a clown. There's not a lot in 205 Live that's drawing me in, but I don't think it's the guys themselves. I think it's just they're not allowed to wrestle like cruiserweights. And I have to bring this up because I couldn't after the, because I didn't do a TLC video. Neville's gone. Honestly, it was more than this, but it just kind of came out like he threw a tantrum after not getting the title back and stormed out. But much like Austin Aries, it had to do with not getting the residuals he thought he deserved. I don't understand you guys that really think Neville was great. I thought he was the most boring guy going. He's good in the ring. As a heel, he is boring. He is worse than heel Randy Orton. Orton at least is that quiet and just does nothing, but you're waiting for him to have a psychotic moment, which is, the RKO out of nowhere is kind of spurred from that. So the quiet, crazy Orton heel, at least there's some momentum there. Neville just bored the daylights out of me. And it was 9 months with the title. He wasn't drawing ratings in. So you know what? They had to pull the trigger. Enzo, in the month and a half on and off that he's had the title, is drawing ratings in. Which is something they need for 205 Live, because honestly, I want this show to succeed. I'm not a huge fan of it. I think what they really should do is A, let them wrestle like cruiserweights. B, get rid of the live aspect and just have it be a show that you air on, like, say, Thursday nights on the WWE Network. I mean, you could record it before or after, even split it up, do half before SmackDown Live at the studio, you know what I mean, the venue, and then half of it after, to make it a 2-hour deal that you cut it down to an hour and a half long show, like they do with NXT. And then you can have, the title matches at the pay-per-view. But honestly, they should have the Cruiserweight title, have a Cruiser Tag title, let the guys go all out. There's a lot they can do here, and there's a lot of talent. It's just not being given the correct platform to shine. But kudos on Enzo for drawing the least interest in. So again, match, it wasn't horrible. I've seen better. I wasn't impressed. And then we had, and this one was a lot of fun, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus Breezango. Now, if you've watched my last few videos here, I make it no quiet secret that I'm a huge Breezango fan. It's such a stupid gimmick, and the guys make it work wonderfully. I didn't like Fandango and Tyler Breeze on their own. You put them together and give them the Fashion Police gimmick, and it's probably one of the things I look forward to most on SmackDown. And Zayn, to his credit, is really starting to embrace his heel gimmick. So I'm happy because the first week after he kind of turned heel, he looked like a lost puppy out there. Kind of like face Bobby Roode, or talented as hell, but he kind of looks lost as a face because he's been a heel for so damn long. But I don't care what they do with Bobby. I like Bobby. He's a talented wrestler. He has the best entrance in the business. Second, of course, is Shinsuke. I will be doing a top 10 video of current entrances. And I got to keep it to WWE because it's kind of hard to really get a Ring of Honor entrance and things like that. Because there's guys I've seen live who I think are amazing when they come out to the ring or have a ton of fun. I honestly love the Kingdom and their antics. I don't get a chance to watch Ring of Honor. I may pay for their service and actually start watching it. But I catch them at Northeast Wrestling, which is our local show here in New England. It's indie wrestling, but it's high quality. So I get to see TK Orion. For a little bit, Matt Taven was there, but I don't think signed right now, so he's namely just on Ring of Honor. Mike Bennett / Kanellis was there. Vinny Marsiglia. So I got to see most of the guys, and they're great to watch. The Vinny's Horror King gimmick is amazing. Sidetrack, so Let's get back to this. Zayn looks better out there as a heel. Now, before the match starts, this was fun. It involves Shane McMahon. Zayn and Owens cut a promo just tearing apart how pathetic Breezango is. And then they tear apart, Shane McMahon, and they tell Breezango what they should be investigating is why Shane McMahon is constantly screwing the two of them over. And then as they're talking and, ranting and raving, the Breezango music hit. And they come out and they start trash talking Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. They basically called them optical offender. Can't talk today. Optical offenders that are harassing Houston. So I thought that was hysterical. Like, just them coming out and calling them optical offenders. In character, they cut a great promo. The match starts. Zayn and Owens get knocked out of the ring. And so both Tyler and Fandango are at the ring apron throwing citations at him, which I cracked up because that was hysterical to me. Staying in their gimmick, even in a match that you knew they were going to lose, and they did. But it was a good match. Basically, there was a really nice tornado DDT by Fandango, but eventually Owens hits the pop-up powerbomb and got the pin. So Fandango ate the pin instead of Tyler, which was nice because, if they're going to lose, at least let's alternate who's eating the pin all the time. And I gotta say, Owens, the pop-up powerbomb feels like it would be a signature or a setup move for a lot of guys. Owens does it incredibly well. He seems to work the body momentum, like the bring up, and then kind of the way he postures himself, it brings the body down with him. He sells it really well, so kudos to Owens. But Zayn and Owens get a win. There was a backstage segment where they were talking to Stephanie McMahon, foreshadowing later on events in the night. And then the main show started, and we opened up with a hell of a match. And I can't emphasize that enough. It was the New Day versus The Shield. And I have to say this, I was not on board with the reunion. I made it clear I'm not a Roman guy. I think he's an okay wrestler. I like the person. I just hate how his character's written. But it's starting to get over a little bit with The Shield. Now, there was a chant of Roman sucks and boos, but for the most part, the crowd was hot behind The Shield. And the guys look like they're having fun together and they're enjoying themselves, which means damn well there's going to be a heel turn for one of them. A rumor is Ambrose, but I haven't confirmed. And, even if a dirt sheet online is saying that there's a heel turn, that doesn't mean anything until it happens. But the crowd was behind the Shield. The crowd was behind the New Day. What was nice here was these guys left nothing in the, they held nothing back. They left everything in the ring. It was amazing. There was a point here where there was a double midnight hour. The one Big E had both guys up on his shoulder, and the other two, Kofi and Xavier, jumped off the rope and then did the I think it's like a DDT or a leg drop off of it. I'm trying to remember, but the double midnight hour was sweet. I thought that was gonna end the match, and it didn't. And of course, it was the Shield was gonna win. I knew this going into it. They're not gonna reunite the Shield and use this as a vehicle to try to get Roman over one last time. I don't think Roman's the guy. I don't think he ever will be, but I think he's certainly serviceable and certainly belongs in the main event scene. I just think if they could get smart about backing off on forcing him on people and letting it happen naturally, the crowd's behind it right now, but if you push it too hard, which if you watched Raw last night, they kind of did. Spoiler warning, if you didn't catch Raw, Roman won the IC title from The Miz. I'm fine with this. It's not the main event title. That belongs around Braun Strowman or Samoa Joe or, I don't know, Finn Balor, because he technically never lost it. I understand being afraid to put the belt on the guy that has injury issues, but the crowd likes him and he's talented. He never lost it. He probably should have had a match. But I don't find Finn beating Brock believable. And we'll get to the AJ Brock match, don't worry. But again, so we had the double midnight hour. We had a 3-man leapfrog where it was Big E in the bottom. I think it was Xavier in the middle and Kofi on top. And then Kofi jumped off of the other two to hit a leapfrog diving splash. So that was nice. But the match ended here where the Shield hit their Shield bomb, whatever they want to call it, the 3-man power bomb, off the top rope. Which, okay, not for nothing. Yeah, I thought the match should have been over with the double midnight hour. But for a move that feels and looks like it would knock you out and hurt, 3 guys slamming you over their shoulders off the top rope is that move. So I'm okay with that. I don't like the Superman punch or the spear as a finisher because it just, like, same thing. Like, AJ does it well. I don't like the phenomenal forearm as a finisher. I understand they don't use the Styles Clash all the time because it's a dangerous move, but both the spear and the punch should be signature moves. Kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like when The Rock started using the people's elbow to finish matches. No. It was cool and fun to watch, but that's not a finisher. But yeah, a 3-man power bombing you off the top turnbuckle is a finisher. So the Shield won. Good match. Phenomenal match. Can't complain. No complaints. Everything was well executed. The crowd was chanting, "This is awesome." Everybody was pumped as hell. And it was great. It just absolutely great. And then, before we had the second match, we had a promo with Stephanie McMahon trying to talk up the Raw women. And her talking up was telling Nia Jax to essentially be the opposite of how you book her. Nia Jax should be this unstoppable monster. What should have happened was Nia Jax should have been taking everything apart in the women's division, and that should have been when Asuka came up and beat the crap out of Nia. I think that's kind of what they did in NXT. I kind of came in after Asuka already had the belt, so I kind of missed a few things with Asuka, Bayley, and Nia in NXT. But it was just funny to me that Stephanie McMahon was asking Nia to basically be the opposite of how she was booked since she's been up on the main roster. And that led into the women's match, which, okay, I know we had that 5-woman match a couple pay-per-views ago. The, what do they call that? Fatal 4-Way. I'm going to call it the Fatal 5-Way because I can't remember the name of it. There's an official name they use for it. And it wasn't that good of a match, to be honest. This match was a lot of fun, which works. It's a 5-on-5 elimination, so you can do more. And this match was Asuka's coming out party. It's what I predicted going into it was going to happen, because if there's any venue where you can make her look strong without necessarily making another wrestler look weak, it's a 5-on-5 Survivor Series style match. Asuka basically, I'll get to her. Let me start with the match order here. Very early in the match, Bayley rolled up Becky Lynch for a quick elimination. Okay, and I know people are going to go, well, now Becky looks weak, Becky blah, blah, blah. No, it was really cheap. Grab the trunks, quick roll up. It's something you can rebound from. What I think would hurt is if Becky went to hit like her, a finisher or a high-profile move and then missed and then got beat with a finisher. That would make her look weaker. Particularly since, Bayley, they've... a couple pay-per-views ago, and I basically said they ruined Bayley's character. I'm still not sold that she's back. I don't want her in the title scene for the women's division. At this point, she just looks like a lost puppy out there. She's talented. If you're not going to take her seriously as an industry, don't ask me to as a fan. So I'm kind of like, cool, she was there. She draws in young girls, which is awesome. And I'm really glad with this women's division renaissance. But yeah, Bayley, I'm indifferent on at this point. Same thing with Bray Wyatt. I like the character, but if you're not going to take him seriously as a performer, don't ask me to as a fan and reviewer. So Bayley got a quick roll-up, makes Bayley look good. I think Becky will bounce right back. I don't think this is going to be a major issue. And then basically a lot of tags early on. Nobody really showcasing early, so it was a lot of tags in and out, especially on Team Raw. There was a spot here where Tamina did a splash on Bayley to eliminate Bayley. Poor Bayley. And then Nia and Tamina were in the ring. So, Nia and wannabe Nia were in the ring staring each other down. Now, suddenly, Tamina's being booked seriously in this match when she hasn't been since returning from her injury. I'm like looking at it going, okay, I've seen nothing out of Tamina that says she should be taken seriously or as a threat. But her and Nia traded headbutts. It was really fun. It felt like having like two big Samoan dudes going at each other. And and they did it well with the two ladies. They headbutt each other a few times. I felt the elimination here was clumsy. Basically, after the really nice engagement, Nia was eliminated with a countout. Good strategy on Tamina's part, but it just felt like a lazy, cheap way to get one of them out of the match. They got it, I think Nia knocked Tamina out through the ropes, and then Tamina got the upper hand outside. Basically kept attacking Nia till they hit a 9 count. Tamina rolled into the ring, and Nia went to grab the ropes. 10, Nia's eliminated. Not bad. It was kind of clumsy, but it also helps Nia still look strong. She lost without losing. Kind of like they did last year when they had Braun get eliminated by Ellsworth holding his ankles. Braun lost, was out of the match without looking weak. But, so, basically, eventually Sasha Banks hit Naomi with the bank statement. And then there was a spot where Carmella slapped Asuka, and I laughed when I saw that because Asuka stared her down like, bitch, I'm going to kick your teeth down your throat. So I just laughed and said, goodbye, Carmella. And then, basically, Asuka proceeded to kick Carmella's teeth down her throat. And then pinned her. And then Sasha got Natalie to tap out to the bank statement. And it came down to basically Asuka versus Tamina and Natalie. Because Sasha got eliminated. So Asuka was 2-on-1 at the end here. And again, this is where Asuka's coming out party happened really well. She hit an armbar on Tamina. Tamina tapped. She countered Natalie's sharpshooter into a knee bar. Natalie kicked out. And then as she kicked out and they got up, Asuka turned around and hit the Asuka lock. And they sold the Asuka lock as the Supreme Submission hold. Now, I'm a little concerned in the women's division that you have Natalya, Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, Charlotte. I think there's one more. There's at least 5 of the women that use submission holds as their finishers, which is fine. I actually think that's cool because I don't recall in the 90s a woman ever using a submission hold as a finisher, so it does seem like they're being taken more seriously. But I think that's going to slow down too many matches where they're going to work limbs and stuff versus like actually attacking. But that remains to be seen because Asuka doesn't technically work limbs as much. She will work limbs by doing various submission holds, but she will kick the ever-living hell out of people. And she did. So Asuka won. Asuka looked strong throughout the match. Asuka got the crowd behind her. The women's match was really good. And kudos. You did the right move here, WWE. You used this as a coming out party for Asuka. And you did this later on in the night for someone else. And obviously you know who I'm talking about already, or you wouldn't be watching this, but we'll get there. Match 3 was Miz versus Corbin. And honestly, the only notes I have here was this was an average match. Basically, it ended with, and it goes back and forth a bit. It wasn't anything super impressive. It's funny watching the two guys come out because Corbin always looks like he's high on methadone. If you guys don't know, methadone is a drug used to help people wean off a heroin addiction. I used to volunteer at a homeless shelter, not that you care, but I figured I'll give you background on how I know about methadone. And the shelter I volunteered at, we had a lot of recovering drug addicts. And usually heroin. Town I used to live in was the heroin capital in Connecticut, so it makes sense. And they would all be on methadone. Eventually methadone, usually you go from that to something like Suboxone, which I don't know if you get high off Suboxone or not. I just know it's a drug you're very dependent on for a while, and it can be difficult to wean off of. But methadone makes you very sleepy looking, tired, and lethargic. That's what Baron Corbin looks like at all times. Miz came out energized, rah, and Corbin came out like he didn't give a damn to be there. So it was funny to me seeing the contrast. And how the match went, it wasn't bad. It was just okay. Baron countered a clothesline by The Miz. The Miz came running at him due to clothesline. Baron stuck the arm out, grabbed Miz, hit the end of days, and got the pin. Again, okay match. I honestly lost interest halfway through this match. This would be one of the kind of the two that I really was like, during the night. But it wasn't bad. I'm not going to... Nobody really screwed up horribly or anything. It was just kind of an okay match. I'm not huge. I like Baron Corbin, but I'm not overly impressed with his in-ring skills. And that might be why, because I think The Miz is fantastic. The Miz and Roman had a phenomenal match Monday night for the IC title. So I know the Mitch. Oh my goodness, they should do a parody character of The Miz and call him The Mitch. I actually would love to see Dean Ambrose feud with again. No, I don't want to see it anytime soon because we've seen that already. But it'd be funny if Dean parodied The Miz and did that. But let's put the train back on the rails. The Miz can put people over, looks good in matches. Baron can wrestle. He just kind of looks like he doesn't want to be there most of the time. Okay match. I can't complain. It just wasn't anything super exciting. So kudos on Baron. And at that point in the night, that was SmackDown's first win of the night. And then, kind of predicted this one. The next match was Sheamus and Cesaro versus the Usos. Both teams have been amazing all year. I've loved the Usos since they become heels. It took a couple weeks to kind of get over being goofy. And now they kind of are just like, they feel like they're being themselves. Now, when they came out and did their promo work before the match, making fun of the bar, to me it was stupid. Like, none of the jokes really hit. I would have preferred if it was just like Sheamus and Cesaro just knocked them out right there and then the match started. But the Usos have been great in the ring. They do not take advantage of the being identical twins enough. I think even... it was another YouTuber that I was watching was talking about this. So, yeah, I was going to say one of the announcers, but... No, and I got to say something here. The matches were good enough during this pay-per-view that I didn't want to stab my eardrums with the... Corey Graves and the Byron Paxton commentary. Because I hate when the two of them are together because I want to punch Graves in the face. Byron is annoying 24/7 because he's like the mentally challenged babyface rooter. And Graves is like the dude that picks on the handicapped kid. Neither are enjoyable and neither are okay. Like, I'd rather have the character Eugene come out and talk. The two of them together is just annoying. And it didn't bother me. Now, the commentary sucked all night because it was a 5-man commentary, so it was just kind of like talking over each other and just, I kind of tuned them out most of the night, which I think the fact that there were 5 of them, I was able to tune out. Sorry, Byron Saxton, not Paxton, folks. Thinking of Bill Paxton, the actor, for some reason. But Saxton and Graves, I was able to tune out. Booker T, I was able to tune out. Michael Cole, I was able to tune out. So despite being 5 annoying people on the mic, I was able to tune them out most of the night. But during the Uso match, it was a good match by both. Not nearly as good as the New Day versus the Shield, but yeah, that was a hard one to follow up. Both teams were savage against each other, though. And again, this was a really friggin' good match. Like, I originally it was funny, I was on the computer doing stuff, taking notes, and kind of losing a little bit of interest after the Miz Corbin match. I stopped, sat down, and just fell in love with this match because I was like, all right, let me not distract myself. They really went over the top with each other. The Usos hit Cesaro with a double super kick later in the match, and then did the back and forth super kicks, and then the same time super kick to Sheamus. And then what was nice here was before the match ended, Sheamus was still in the ring, Cesaro was outside. I think it was Jimmy Uso came running, jumped over the rope, tagged Jey Uso, so he did a flying clothesline and took out Cesaro, and then Jey Uso was able to go in and get the pin. I thought that was brilliant tag team work. It was unconventional. It was a lot of fun. So again, really good match, and both teams have done nothing but put good matches on all year, regardless of who they're wrestling. So kudos. This one was just a little hard because you had to follow up the New Day and the Shield. I maybe would have opened with this match and then did the New Day and the Shield later. But I think they didn't necessarily want to have the last couple matches here following the New Day and the Shield. But again, nothing wrong with Sheamus and Cesaro and the Usos. I like both teams. Both put in steady, solid work. They did tonight. They beat the snot out of each other. Really good match. I do recommend watching it if you haven't had a chance to watch Survivor Series, or go on YouTube and look up clips from this match because it was really good. Just wasn't quite on par with what we got out of the New Day and the Shield. Although, to be fair, 3-on-3 versus 2-on-2, there's a little more you can choreograph and script and work with when you have the extra men in the ring. There's also more that can go wrong, so there's trade-off there, but I can't compare the two. It's two different teams, two different formats. So both tag matches in the show were amazing. And next up was Charlotte and Alexa. I was looking forward to this match. And what I said when I opened up the show about kind of being the two types of bitch, Charlotte's kind of that snide, arrogant one, and Alexa's more of the conniving, tantrum-throwing one. It's the same basic kind of character, but two really well-executed interpretations of it, and I loved it. Again, this was like The Miz and Corbin. Nothing majorly wrong. It just wasn't the best match I've seen out of both of them. Honestly, they're on different shows. They don't get a lot of time to work with each other, so I think that's part of it. There was a really nice spot where Charlotte countered the Twisted Bliss with the knees. And then Charlotte ended up locking in the figure eight, and Bliss tapped out. So that's kind of how the match ended. But overall, good match. But in the middle of the match, Charlotte hit a really nice spear, which I don't expect out of the women's division. Not that the women can't, it's just not what's traditionally done in women's wrestling. So again, I love the evolution. I love that it is being treated equal in capability to the men, and it should have been for a long time. I think now, though, you really have women that are wrestlers first and attractive second, versus the 90s where it was, hey, you're hot, put on a bikini and we'll teach you how to slap and kick. Now it's, hey, you can wrestle and you're hot. Because, yeah, I mean, Alexa is gorgeous. Obviously, I'm wearing her shirt. My WWE Slam Crate finally came yesterday. 3 weeks late. To be fair, though, they did notify us, so I'm not that mad. It was just, I would have liked to gotten something extra for them taking so damn long to get it to me, but it is what it is. I do recommend getting it, because you do get a cool shirt every other month. You get a little figurine. I got little WWE Championship belt coasters, a Enzo Amore lunch bag, which I probably won't use. Because for the most of the part, I am a grown adult when I have to be, which is usually at work or out in the public. I'll use it for something. But usually you get cool stuff. But again, after the Charlotte did that nice spear, there was a spot where Alexa went for a pin, Charlotte kicked, and then Alexa did, and this was my favorite moment of the match. She screamed while on the mat and started banging around, throwing her tantrum, which is kind of what stood out to me as the different, same basic character type, but different interpretations. I loved it. And then she grabs Charlotte by the face and goes, "Why won't you quit?" And I was like, awesome. And yeah, honestly, Charlotte deserved a win. Like it or not, I happen to like Alexa. Asuka's my waifu, so I'm going to work for her first. That belt needs to be on her by Mania. As long as you don't completely screw up her booking. Shinsuke. But, good match. Kudos to both of you ladies. It wasn't match of the night or anything. It wasn't something that really, oh my goodness, spectacular, must watch. But it was enjoyable. I just think maybe this should have went on before the women's 5-man match, but I think they wanted to get one of the 5 people matches out of the way early in the show, because you didn't want to have 3 to end the night. But after the Charlotte Flair and Alexa match, we had, this one was weird. It was Brock Lesnar versus AJ Styles. In my Twitter feed, I literally wrote, can we just end this effing stupid squash match already? Way to waste your full-time talent to throw him to the wolves for your temperamental part-timer. Like, I was angry because this match started, it was Brock not even just suplexing. The dude was tossing AJ Styles over his head. I felt legit bad for AJ. AJ, I think, got a little pissed because it looked like Brock legit hurt his calf during a calf crusher. So I think AJ got a little pissed during the match and might have put a little real pressure on him. And the other reason I think this is, and I'll get to it as I describe the match here, the first 5 minutes were a squash. It was honestly disgusting. I almost turned it off. Then out of the blue, AJ was using his agility and speed to dodge Brock, hit him in the leg a few times, and eventually Brock would stumble or miss a move, and AJ was able to capitalize. After 5 minutes of it being an awful squash match, I mean, it's great if you're a huge Lesnar fan. Again, the dude can punch me in the chest and kill me, so I have nothing but respect for the guy. But you're part-time, you're probably leaving because your contract's up at Mania. Yeah, wrestle 4 or 5 times a year. You don't deserve to be champion. I get your ratings. Like, casual fans are going to hear the name and go, yeah, I like him. But there are... the main belt should be on a full-timer. Don't put the IC title on a part-timer right now because The Miz did so damn much to make that belt worth something. But, give the IC title to a part-timer or the US title to a part-timer. Or have the part-timer have your main show's belt. But for a couple of months, not all year. It was since Mania. And we've had, 2 title defenses? And then again, this wasn't a night about titles, so it was title versus title type of thing. Well, champ versus champ. No titles were exchanging. But as this match went on, AJ got involved. He kept working Brock's knee. Brock countered a tornado DDT by just this was funny. He tried, and I think this is really what started turning the match. AJ went for a massive tornado DDT. Brock went to kind of just throw him. I think stumbled a bit as he threw AJ off himself. With so much momentum, he slammed his face into the canvas and just looked, pardon the French here, shit-faced for a moment. Like, he looked like he stunned himself. I laughed because I was like, I felt bad for him because, Brock has to hold himself back. You can see that when he's wrestling. Doesn't do a good job all the time. AJ hit multiple moonsaults. And what's funny is, and then this is where I think AJ got fed up and did a little personal work into the match. He hit a calf crusher. Brock couldn't get near the ropes. So what Brock eventually did was kind of swung his arm around. It repeatedly, boom, 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 slammed his head into the freaking ring mat. And I'm just going, oh my goodness, I'm hoping he's holding back a little. Otherwise, he's not even going to have a match. He's going to have a stump of an AJ Styles in the middle of the ring. But it was savage. Like, both these guys went to town on each other. More so, it was one-sided with Brock. But AJ, when he hit that calf crusher, looked like he was really on to something there and really putting it on. So either he did some damage because Brock kind of had a hard time walking a little bit at the end of the match and after the match, or Brock out of the blue got really good at selling. Because Brock's the type of guy that gives you 5-10 minutes of a really good match. You saw it with Goldberg. The two of them had like a 5-minute threshold. But that might be more on Goldberg than Brock, but it just kind of seems to be that way. Eventually, AJ counters an F5, hits a phenomenal forearm, and then another diving phenomenal forearm. Eventually, AJ went to do another jump. Brock I think it was another phenomenal forearm. Brock caught him around the shoulders and just swung around and hit the F5 and pinned AJ. Now, the F5, unlike the Attitude Adjustment, the F5 looks like the way Brock does it, it looks like it hurts. I think it should be a protected finisher. And not for nothing, you can't have somebody like Braun Strowman lose after one F5 and then have a guy like AJ Styles kick out. And nothing against AJ, which is what I was going to say a second ago. AJ's the hell of a talent, should be the champion at least till Mania on SmackDown. I think him and Shinsuke should have one hell of a match, and I think Shinsuke should have the belt for a while. Just see if the crowd will... the crowd's behind him now, but I think it's hard with a foreign wrestler, especially when you don't let them wrestle the way they know how to wrestle, with strong style, and you're not... like Shinsuke, they keep trying to get him to talk. He didn't talk in NXT. He did in-ring promos with guys where they just talked smack to each other and held his own really well, but his theatrics were his talking. He was the king of strong style. I think they should let him be that in the main roster, but they haven't yet. So I would like to see them put a belt eventually on Shinsuke and see what happens. And I think him and AJ can have a WrestleMania match. Shinsuke wins, and then back and forth for a couple months before they pick one, and then someone else steps in. But this was a good match. It started out as an hate-filled rant on Twitter. It turned into like, okay, I can live with this. This turned into a good match. So kudos. Good job there, WWE, with taking what everybody thought was going to happen, which was a squash match, teasing us with it, angering us with it, and then turning it around into almost believing AJ was going to win before Brock won because Brock won. Now, supposedly the plans are still on for Mania for Roman and Brock, but Roman got the IC belt Monday night, so I don't know what's going on there. And I don't know what's going on if they're going to pull the trigger and put Brock and Braun in a rematch at Mania, because it seems like Braun may have his hands filled come Mania, if depending on where they go with, based on what happened here in the main event. Now, the main event was the men's match, and I had 2 predictions going into this match. Well, 3 technically. My first one, based on the go-home show for Raw, was going to be that either Kurt Angle was going to turn on Triple H and cost Team Raw the match, or Jason Jordan was going to come down and attack Kurt Angle for not standing up for him, and the eventual heel turn for Jordan was going to happen. Well, I don't know. Everybody keeps insisting there's going to be a heel turn. I just think they need to do something with Jason Jordan, which they seem to start doing Monday night, not Sunday. Because they didn't do squat Sunday, so I was wrong on that prediction. And then my other prediction was, since they weren't in the match, and based on Owens and Zayn talking to Stephanie backstage, that they're going to come out and mess with the match. And, well, just spoiler warning, Shane McMahon got beat to hell by Shane or Zayn and Owens. Okay, both their names are almost identical, so it's kind of hard here. You know, Shane and Zayn sound alike. But to Shane McMahon's credit, he bust out a chair and wailed and heavily beat the living snot out of both Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens and chased them away. But let's get to the match. And to start the match, Braun Strowman grabs Shane McMahon and tosses him like a sack of potatoes. Shane looked like he was going to crap his pants. Beginning of the match here, Shinsuke is kicking everyone's ass. Braun steps in and kicks Shinsuke's ass. I can live with that. Braun then kicks Bobby Roode's ass. And what happened here was Braun Strowman basically stole the show. Braun pinned Shinsuke, Braun pinned Bobby Roode. There was a nice spot where Shinsuke and Finn went at it for a few minutes, and everybody was chanting NXT. And if you're not a Shinsuke guy and don't understand the appeal, watch that segment of this match when Shinsuke's booked with a guy who can wrestle a similar style or wrestle with him well. He looks good. Both guys look great. It was fun. And then there was a spot where Bobby Roode and Triple H were staring each other down, and the crowd barked out like hell because you got big Triple H, little Triple H, because they're kind of the similar characters. And again, of course, Braun took out Bobby Roode. Bobby tried to hit the Glorious DDT. Braun turned around and hit his running power slam. They're still selling the running power slam from Braun as this devastating move. I wanted a different finisher for the guy, but now I can't see him doing something else. Maybe a power bomb at some point, but something like the last ride. But I think he does the running power slam so convincingly well. I don't think he needs to do a different move. But basically, during the match here, everybody from SmackDown Live, so the other 2 guys that got eliminated, came back out to the ring. All 5 of them basically did like a underhook suplex, and put Braun through the announcer's table. So that took Braun out of the match for a good 15 minutes. Because honestly, the way it was being booked, it was not believable that they're all going to take down Braun, like the 3 guys left, anytime soon. And so they had to get Braun out of the match for a little while. So smart move. Braun looked fine, because the fact that he still got up halfway through the match made him look even stronger. But during the match, we had John Cena eliminate Samoa Joe. Orton eliminated Finn Balor. And then Kurt Angle hit a weak-looking ankle lock, like really bad-looking ankle lock on Cena. And I almost feel like it was mocking the STFU that Cena does, because it's the worst-looking freaking submission hold in the WWE, if not all of professional wrestling. But then Angle proceeds to hit Cena with 2 Angle slams, or Olympic slams. And then Cena's eliminated. To be fair, Cena didn't do anything in this pay-per-view. Okay, he eliminated, what the heck did he eliminate? Samoa Joe. But really, Cena didn't do a lot. Like, it kind of was like, why was he there? So, towards the end, and this was where I loved, because freaking Randy Orton finally got his comeuppance. Braun Strowman, like, Orton tried to do the RKO out of nowhere, and as I'm watching this match, I'm leaning off my couch. I am stoked. Because Braun's back. Braun gets back, basically tags himself back into the match. Randy Orton tries to do the RKO out of nowhere. As he goes to grab Braun's head, Braun just throws him across, pushes him all across the ring. And then Braun hits the running power slam and takes out Orton. I like that somebody countered the RKO because it's the most, I don't understand why, overprotected finisher. It's a neck breaker. Like, I know the stunner in its heyday was so overprotected, maybe too much. But I just, the RKO should be at least, especially early on in the match, the out of nowhere thing shouldn't be, I don't think should take as many big name guys out as they do. Because, like, okay, the way they did it with Bray, the way they did Rusev, I just kind of got tired of how it was being booked. So it was nice to see Braun counter it and then Braun just flatten Orton. So what we have towards the end of this match is Braun, Angle, and Triple H versus Shane McMahon. Now, Braun's just staring, like, Shane won't get in the ring. Shane's holding a chair. Shane's scared shitless. Pardon my French. Just, like I said, I will swear on occasion. Namely, my not swearing is I'm going to try to avoid using the F word. Okay? Just because there's times where just certain words fit the mood. But Shane is terrified. Finally, the refs grabbed the ladder from him. Shane gets in the ring. Angle tags Braun. Braun just looks at Angle like, do you want to die? Angle tries to step in the ring. Triple H tags Angle. Basically beats up Shane. Pedigrees Shane. I think I might be getting this backwards. Hold on here. Yeah, basically, hold on. It was Triple H, Angle. That's what it was. Triple H tagged in. Angle tagged Triple H. Angle, I think Angle slammed Shane, and then Triple H tagged him from behind. And then Triple H turned around and turned on Angle. And then pedigreed Angle, and then rolled Shane up on top of Angle. And, of course, Angle got pinned. I have to say, I've seen Kurt live. This was not one of his better nights. He looked like an old man out there. And you're not going to have your A game every show. And I think these kind of matches are hard to choreograph at times. And probably the remembering what to do in what spot, it's got to be rough. Especially somebody like Angle who hasn't done this in years. He does wrestle on, did wrestle on the indie scene. And threatened Monday night to go back to being just a competitor, so cool, it'd be nice. But basically, Triple H turns on Angle. And then you're wondering, okay, Braun's just looking like, what's going on? Triple H brings up Shane. Pedigree Shane, pin Shane, match over. And Braun walks in the ring with this just angry, confused. Like, first, Braun's just confused, like, someone took his cookies away. Like a little kid that just had their cookies taken away. Like, what'd I do? What's going on? And then, Triple H is trying to celebrate with him. Like, yeah, I played the game. I'm the game. Braun eventually grabs Triple H by the throat, slams him into the, picks him up, slams him into the corner ropes. Basically, in front of the microphone and camera, goes, "You ever play your games with me again, I will destroy you." Triple H sold the most terrified look in the history of wrestling. Give Triple H all the credit in the world because dude is invested in putting Braun over here. Braun walks away. Triple H tries to be the cerebral assassin. Tries to attack a pedigree Braun. Braun picks him up and then freaking power slams him. So, basically, 2 power slams later, Braun won Survivor Series. Because he power slams Triple H, picks him up again, power slams him again. Tonight was all about Asuka getting her time in the light and Braun Strowman being solidified as the best top babyface on Raw. Triple H did a really good job selling it. The match was a mess at times. I thought it was good. I know some people were pissed about the ending. And I'm like, I don't know why. I knew somebody was turning on someone. The seeds were planted. It just happened backwards. My only complaint with the men's match, your NXT guys were eliminated almost immediately. Your roster's old. Not that Shinsuke's necessarily young, but your roster's old. You need to be putting these guys over. Especially Bobby Roode if he's kind of Triple H 2.0. He's arrogant, he's smart, he's freaking charismatic. I would have maybe put him in a little more, Finn a little more. But my favorite guy on Raw, and the only reason I kind of tune into Monday Night Raw anymore, ended up being the top dude in Survivor Series. This was all about making Braun look strong as can be. Now, bring this back around to what I talked about earlier with Monday Night Raw last night, where Roman won the IC title, and kind of other things that happened was Triple H and Angle got into a spat, yelling at each other. Basically, Angle threatening to quit as GM and be a competitor, and then, of course, Stephanie McMahon reminding Angle that Triple H is a COO. Jason Jordan came out and was like, look, if you're a coward, why don't let me, telling Triple H he's a coward. I want to wrestle you. Triple H, of course, takes his jacket off. And Stephanie McMahon, Triple H isn't afraid of anyone. Braun! Music hit. I'm marking out because I got home from the college and I turned on the YouTube feed. And I'm just freaking again at the edge of my couch like an 8-year-old. Marking out hardcore to this. Braun comes out and just stares down Triple H. Triple H steps back, Braun steps forward, Triple H steps back, Braun steps forward, Triple H steps out into the ring apron, Braun just steps up in his face, Triple H jumps down, and then finally they spin it around to where it was supposed to be Braun and Jordan. I did not get a chance to catch that match because I wasn't up on YouTube at the time, and I haven't had a chance to watch Raw. So I do know Kane interfered because that clip at least popped up. So it seems like right now they're still doing the Kane and Strowman feud. Kane has an election coming up, oddly enough, in May. Like, I don't know what's up with their county, but they do May. He's running for mayor of some podunk town. I'm sorry if you're from that town and watching. Thank you. I like fans. I'm not saying podunk in a negative way. It's just your town I never heard of, but I'm also up in Connecticut. Nobody's going to hear of half the towns here other than Hartford, New Haven, Bridgeport, and Waterbury. So it is what it is. I'm not knocking the town, but it's some little podunk town in the middle of nowhere, somewhere I never heard of. It's like Knox County or something like that. But he's got a political career ahead of him. Kudos. Good luck, Kane. I don't know what you stand for, who you are, so I'm not saying yay or nay to vote for him. That's your call. But good luck. You can't be any worse than Jesse Ventura. But Kane, I'm assuming this is his going away thing. Like, this is going to be Braun's going to just destroy him. Kane's retirement match. I mean, Braun's retiring, guys. I think Braun took out Big Show when they broke the ring again. So maybe Kane will do the same thing with Kane. They already put him through the ring a couple weeks ago on Raw when he basically the night ended with Braun and Kane going through the ring, and then the online YouTube thing was Braun getting out from under the middle of the ring and so that was awesome. But it seems like we're going to have Triple H in either Jason Jordan or Kurt Angle at Mania. I think we're going to have a short feud between Triple H and Jason Jordan. Jason Jordan's going to get injured or something's going to happen, and it's going to flip that switch in Kurt Angle's head, and Kurt Angle's going to just attack Triple H. And we're going to have a classic match at Mania between the two. I don't know what's going on with Braun in the long term. I honestly feel like if they're going to keep the IC title on brain fart on Roman Reigns, I don't see Roman with that title getting the Universal title at the same time. And I think Miz is out for a little while, or is going to be going out for a little while soon, because Maurice is preggers and is going to be due soon. So Miz, you're awesome, bro. You and your wife take care of the baby. Do what you got to do. We know damn well they're going to put that belt back on you when you come back. So kudos, bro. Roman, keep the momentum with that title going. I don't know what they're doing with you. My hope of all hopes is they're going to put the Universal title on Strowman at Mania, where he gets his rematch with Brock and just dominates. Not a squash. I don't want a 2-3 minute match. We don't need a repeat of Goldberg, Lesnar in the 2000s. Not the good one we had last year. That series last year was amazing. Going from Survivor Series up through Mania. That was actually a lot of fun. But I want to see a just good match where Strowman just comes out dominant on top. Not barely wins, but shows I am now the monster. I am the beast. It's now my yard. My yard. The Roman thing. So it's wishful thinking on my part. I still, have to go with what the rumors have been, which is somehow it's going to loop back around to Roman and Lesnar. I think Roman's great having the IC title. I don't want him having the world title. I especially don't want the Shield to have all 3 titles. A faction having all the titles works well when it's a heel faction, because now it's this fight against the system, or against, so to speak, or against a faction, you're overcoming them. When it's a good guy faction, it's just like, okay, what do we do now? But, anyways, Survivor Series. Was it good? Well, if you sat through this entire video, you should know damn well it was amazing. There was 2 matches that were okay, not great, and then the rest were great. People are hit or miss on how the main event ended. I'm fine with it. It was a nice swerve. I did not expect Triple H to initiate the turn. And Braun looked like $1 million. I mean, Braun is the reason I watch Raw right now. Shinsuke and Rude are the reason. And AJ and Owens are. So yeah, there's a lot of guys on SmackDown I like. So SmackDown's more of the show I've kind of been into. We didn't have Orton, Cena, and the traditional veterans bury the young talent. I mean, the young talent got buried, but they got buried by other young talent. So I'm at peace with the NXT guys going out kind of the way they did, because 2 of them went out to another young guy, Strowman. Young guys and young in the business. Even though Brood and so on aren't young in the business. But SmackDown, I don't know what the story's going to be going forward. Obviously tonight we're going to have some kind of hot mess between Shane and Zayn and Owens. Hey, I got it right this time. It only took the end of the show. Jinder is probably going to cash in his rematch with AJ. Now, I don't know if they're going to put the belt back on Jinder because they're canceling tour dates in India. So I think the love affair with India is coming to an end. They have one mega show they're doing on December 9th. So who knows? I kind of don't mind a quick transition where if they have to take it off AJ for a few weeks, AJ gets it back, and then we carry that into WrestleMania season. We're getting there, folks. There's a pay-per-view in December on the 17th. I will not be doing a video on that because I'm going out of the country. So, unfortunately, and I don't remember the name of it, I think it's not Battleground, but something like that. There is a SmackDown-only pay-per-view in December on the 17th. I'm going to the Netherlands that day. My sister is getting married to her wonderful fiancé, Farid, and he's going to be an awesome brother-in-law. I get to meet the family, so this is going to be interesting. But I will be out of the country, so you're not going to get a video on that. I'm going to try to do a couple little filler videos on different topics in between. I know I've said it like the last 10 videos. I am doing a great moments and bad gimmicks with the Toxic Turtles, which I have to, because, oh my goodness. And if I can get enough footage and backstory on them, the Macho Warrior Rick Hogan. So I have 2 videos in the pipeline. I'm going to have more of my radio shows as I do them on Thursday nights. Obviously, it's Thanksgiving this week. I'm not doing my radio show. Honestly, when I end up working in the radio industry, I relish the holidays because that's when new people to the station, new people to the industry are asked to work because the veterans don't want to work the holidays. So it's a great opportunity to get on air. However, college radio station is volunteer. I'm not getting paid, so I'm going to enjoy my turkey day and watch some football. And anyways, I want to thank you all for tuning in today. This has been The Last Word with yours truly, Alan V. I want to thank you again for tuning in to Chocobo Chokeslam, my YouTube channel. Enjoy the other content. Check out the radio show. Stay tuned for gaming content. Now, I have 2K18 for WWE, and I kind of wanted to do my own wrestling federation, and my own created guys and so on. I lack a capture card to sufficiently do that, and those are expensive. I am not going to put a Patreon up at this time. I want to thank who I have as subscribers, but I also don't want to be hitting you guys up for money. I mean, there's stuff I can do in the meantime. I am going to get some gaming stuff going. It's going to be more casual, just me goofing around. I have Mega Man Maker. I've been doing levels for another YouTube channel, Gigaboots. And because if you type in Chocobo Chokeslam, a couple of their videos are going to come up. Because I've been submitting levels and getting them to play the levels on a live stream. So I've been having fun interacting with those guys. If you like gaming stuff, go check them out. It's Gigaboots, all one word. Or you can type it in separately. It'll still come up. They've been around forever on the internet and forever on YouTube. They're fun guys. So, since I'm able to kind of whore myself out on their live streams, I'm going to give them a plug. So Dan and Bob, good luck, guys. And I want to thank all my viewers, listeners, however you're watching this. Love you guys. Have a happy, wonderful, and safe Thanksgiving. Have a wonderful holiday season. Whatever you celebrate, may it be blessed and merry. Solemn and dignified, however you want to approach it. stay smarky, keep watching. I take it easy, guys, and just remember, I always, and I mean always, have the last word. Peace out. Take it easy.